Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into a story that's not just about numbers and policies. It's about accountability, transparency, and the future of a nation's wealth. Burkina Faso, a country rich in gold and precious minerals, recently took a bold step to confront systemic flaws in how its mining revenues are managed. A groundbreaking audit by the Court of Auditors has exposed shocking gaps in governance and proposed actionable solutions. But before we unpack this, I want to take a moment to say thank you to our incredible community. To our members and subscribers, your support fuels this channel and allows us to bring you stories that matter. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button and join the conversation. Let's get into it. Burkina Faso is one of Africa's fastest-growing gold producers, with mining contributing over 10% of its GDP and employing thousands. Yet for years, questions have lingered. Is the country getting a fair share of its mineral wealth? Are revenues being tracked and used responsibly? These aren't just academic questions. They impact education, healthcare, infrastructure, and the fight against poverty. Enter Captain Ibrahim Traoré, the nation's transitional president, who seized power in 2022 amid widespread frustration over corruption and mismanagement. Traoré has made eradicating corruption a cornerstone of his leadership, framing it as a moral and economic imperative. His administration's collaboration with the African Organization of Supreme Audit Institutions, AfroSci, to launch this audit in July 2023 is a testament to his commitment. The report, titled Performance Audit of the Legal and Institutional Framework for Mobilizing Rights and Taxes from Gold and Other Precious Substance, Extraction, 2017 to 2022, doesn't just expose flaws. It aligns with Traoré's broader mission to dismantle systemic graft and redirect resources toward national development. Let's break down what they found and why it matters. The Court of Auditors didn't hold back. After analyzing 6 years of data, interviews, and processes, they identified glaring weaknesses: a lack of transparency in granting mining permits, limited public access to operational data, weak oversight of tax declarations, overly generous tax breaks for foreign companies, and institutional dysfunction in monitoring extraction activities. For Traoré, these findings are a roadmap. Since taking office, he has positioned himself as a disruptor of the status quo, openly criticizing previous administrations for allowing legalized looting of the country's resources. In speeches, he's emphasized that Burkina Faso's minerals should fund its future, not line the pockets of corrupt officials or foreign entities. Take the issue of mining permits. The audit revealed that licenses were often awarded or renewed behind closed doors with no clear criteria, a practice Traoré has condemned as shadow governance. Under his leadership, the government has begun reviewing existing permits and cancelling those deemed fraudulent or non-compliant. In one high-profile case, his administration revoked a major gold mining license from a foreign firm accused of underreporting production volumes. Traoré's message is clear. Burkina Faso will no longer tolerate deals that prioritize corporate profits over national interests. Another critical finding was the lack of accessible information about mining operations. Citizens and even government agencies struggled to obtain basic data on extraction volumes or tax payments. Traoré's response? A push for radical transparency. His administration recently launched a public online portal detailing mining contracts, tax receipts, and production statistics. While still in its early stages, the platform aims to empower citizens to hold both companies and officials accountable. Sunlight is the best disinfectant, Traoré remarked at the portal's launch, echoing a mantra that resonates with his anti-corruption crusade. The audit also highlighted weak oversight of tax declarations, with some companies allegedly underreporting earnings or exploiting loopholes. Traoré's government has responded by strengthening the Directorate of Mining Taxes and introducing harsh penalties for false declarations. Additionally, they've partnered with international forensic accountants to audit major mining firms, a move that has already recovered millions in unpaid taxes. For Traoré, this isn't just about revenue, it's about sovereignty. Every franc stolen from our mines is a franc stolen from our children's schools, he declared in a recent address. But perhaps the most controversial finding was the critique of Burkina Faso's too generous tax incentives for mining companies. For years, the country offered reduced royalty rates and tax holidays to attract foreign investment, a race-to-the-bottom strategy Traoré has lambasted as economic suicide. Under his leadership, the government is revising its fiscal code to ensure a fairer distribution of mining profits. Proposed reforms include higher royalty rates for gold, stricter caps on tax breaks, and mandatory reinvestment clauses requiring companies to allocate a percentage of profits to local infrastructure projects. Institutional capacity has also been a focus. The audit noted that agencies tasked with monitoring mines lacked resources, expertise, and coordination. Traoré's administration has prioritized training programs for mining inspectors and invested in technology like drones and satellite imaging to track extraction activities. They've also established a cross-agency task force to combat illicit financial flows, IFF, a problem the audit tied to weak oversight. We cannot build a nation with one hand while the other hand is tied by incompetence or complicity, Traoré asserted during a meeting with anti-corruption officials. Now, before we go further, I want to pause and say a huge thank you to our members and subscribers. Your super chats, likes, and comments don't just support this channel, they amplify stories like this one. When we talk about fighting corruption or demanding transparency, remember, you're part of that movement. If you're watching this and haven't joined our membership community yet, consider clicking that Join button below. For less than the price of a coffee, you get exclusive perks like behind-the-scenes updates and early access to videos. And if you're feeling extra generous today, the Super Thanks feature lets you directly support this work. Every contribution helps us keep the lights on and dig deeper into underreported issues. Back to Traoré's reforms. The audit's recommendations, like digitizing procedures, creating a national gold reserve, and enhancing international cooperation against IFF, align closely with his agenda. For instance, his administration recently signed agreements with Interpol and the African Union to trace smuggled gold, a major source of illicit revenue. They've also begun digitizing mining permits and tax filings to reduce bureaucratic fraud. But Traoré's most symbolic move? The creation of a national gold reserve aimed at stabilizing the economy and asserting state control over mineral wealth. This reserve is not just gold in a vault, he stated. It is the foundation of our economic independence. Critics argue that Traoré's aggressive stance risks deterring foreign investment. Yet, his administration counters that transparency and fairness will attract responsible partners. Early signs suggest mixed results. While some firms have paused operations pending clearer regulations, others have welcomed the reforms as a step toward long-term stability. For Traoré, the calculus is simple. Burkina Faso's resources must serve its people first. We are not anti-investment, he clarified in a recent interview. We are anti-exploitation. What does this mean for ordinary Burkinabe? If Traoré succeeds, mining revenues could fund schools, hospitals, and roads in a country where over 40% live below the poverty line. Already, his government has allocated a portion of recovered tax funds to build clinics in mining regions, a direct response to community complaints that gold wealth rarely benefits locals. For too long, our Earth's riches have flowed outward, Traoré said at a clinic inauguration. Now, they will flow back to our people. But the road ahead is steep. Corruption networks are deeply entrenched, and Traoré's military-backed government faces security challenges from jihadist groups vying for control of mining zones. Yet, the president remains defiant. He's linked his anti-corruption drive to national security, arguing that illicit gold funds terrorism. Every gram of smuggled gold is a bullet in the hands of terrorists, he warned in a speech to miners. To combat this, his administration has deployed soldiers to secure mining sites and initiated community dialogues to curb illegal artisanal mining, which often feeds black markets. Internationally, Traoré's efforts have drawn both praise and skepticism. Groups like Global Witness applaud his transparency measures, while some Western governments remain cautious, citing concerns over democratic Dao Tui after his coup. Nonetheless, Traoré seems undeterred. At the recent Russia-Africa summit, he sought partnerships for mining technology and fair trade agreements, framing Burkina Faso as a new model for resource governance. Now, you might wonder, why should I care about mining audits in Burkina Faso? Here's why. This isn't just a local issue. Illicit financial flows from Africa exceed $88 billion annually, UNICA. Money stolen from schools, hospitals, and roads. The gold in your phone or jewelry could be linked to corruption. By demanding transparency, we become part of a global movement for ethical sourcing. Moreover, Burkina Faso's courage under Traoré sets a precedent. If a nation with limited resources can challenge powerful mining interests, it inspires others to do the same. To our incredible community, stories like this remind us why your support matters. When you hit super thanks or share this video, you're not just supporting a channel, you're amplifying a fight for justice. Corruption thrives in silence, but together we can turn up the volume. As for Traoré, the stakes couldn't be higher. His ability to implement the audit's recommendations will determine whether Burkina Faso's mineral wealth becomes a blessing or remains a curse. Early victories, like recovered taxes and cancelled fraudulent permits, show promise. But the true test lies in sustaining this momentum amid political and security challenges. So what's next? The Court of Auditors has handed Traoré's government a clear to-do list. Implementation is key, and that's where public pressure comes in. As citizens, journalists, and global advocates, we must keep the spotlight on this issue. For those of you in the mining or finance sectors, push for transparency in your supply chains. For everyone else, stay informed, stay vocal, and remember that change starts with awareness. Before I sign off, one last shout out to our members and subscribers. You're the reason we can tackle complex topics like this. If you learned something today, drop it in the comments, share this video, and consider supporting the channel with a super thanks. Together, we can make transparency more than a buzzword. It can be a reality. Stay curious, stay engaged, and remember, Burkina Faso's fight is a reminder that accountability is possible, even in the face of daunting odds. Until next time, peace.